Just for some of you guys who might not have seen my project truck videos yet, we fixing this headliner first. This metal headliner is really difficult. It's one of the most difficult things to do because you're on your knees sitting in the cab welding up and grinding upwards and all. We fabricated all the way around the headliner, all the way down the front and all the way to the back. I have a new back panel going to go in. I got a new cowl to go in for this rust. I got to finish working on this header and pinch these. I got to hammer and dolly this all a little bit more perfectly to match this piece. This piece is bent correctly, so I'm going to shape it all so I can pinch weld it all together across the front. That gets you up to speed on the truck. If you haven't seen those videos, they come out on Sundays, except Christmas Day I won't be filming, so there won't be one the week after Christmas. But you can always watch the one that was on Christmas Day if you didn't get a chance and you were opening toys with the kids. You can watch it the following Sunday, right? Now you're up to speed on the project truck. Customer approved everything on this. I didn't realize. They were just telling me we're doing the TPMS sensors, the tires, the slightly leaking cam sensor. I recommended just so that they don't say it's leaking oil since you worked on it. They said no, do it. I want everything right. Apparently they're taking a pretty long trip, so we're going to do everything on this thing. I didn't realize. I'm going to take the tires off, but we don't mount tires here. We have a tire machine, but it's kind of sketchy. You guys might have seen it in some other videos. So we just paste them, but we definitely don't have a balancer. So we just take the wheels and tires over it, and the new tires over to a tire shop locally. They mount the tires. They'll put the TPMS sensors in for me. I'll just have to program them when we're done. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Get this thing in the air, get the tires off, and then I can do the tune-up stuff while I'm waiting on them to get the tires done. The tires will probably take the longest. They're not even here yet, so they're on the way. Let's do it. Let's fire this day up. That's high enough. They'll come off there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Carry those around anymore than I have to. Let's use a little under hood light act. Oh, I forgot this has bad hood struts. I'm gonna put my hood lock on just so that it doesn't fall on my noggin. Nice and easy. 8mm. Get this air box out of the way. I don't think this bolts down anywhere. Yeah, it's on a rubber stand over here. Oh, it wasn't even clipped onto it. I think there's an air temp sensor I gotta unplug. Where'd that rascal go? They hide it under here so you really can't see it. That way you'll snap it. If you don't have the proper Chrysler training to know about it. Sneaky little guys. This is the same setup as yesterday's car. I pulled the wire harness off the stud. That bracket, I'm going to take that stud out of the head, and that bracket will lift up with it, and that will enable me to take the two nuts from here. I just take the nuts off. I'll be able to lift the manifold up and slide the studs out of the holes. Oh, they got Misas or something in here. We'll have to pay attention and see if we spot anything wrong in there as far as wires getting chewed. But oh look, nuts and stuff. But this is a maintenance tune-up. No complaints. I am going to blow this off with air now that I can see what's going on in there. Right after I put something over the throttle body. If nothing else, blowing it out like that lets the mice know you're coming, so they'll get out of your way. This air box is held on with 8s. I don't think you have to take them out all the way. That should be it. Oh. I'm gonna let them know it doesn't really need an air filter. See if they want to unsell it. 10 millimeters times 2. This isn't normally the kind of job I'd wear gloves for, but since I'm filming this coming up on the Christmas weekend I'm gonna have, 5-day weekend if you might not have heard before, I'm pretty happy about it. Just want to get my hands a little bit cleaner. It's not something I really am concerned about. I'm pretty proud of what I do for a living. So when someone goes, oh, you're a mechanic, I instantly start talking about salaries and how much they make. Because I usually make more than them 4 out of 5 times, but not always. All right, enough chit chat while we're working and thinking. Gotta get that stud out of the bracket on the other side. Those bolts, it should lift off. Get that out of my way. I should be able to get this in here. I might have to contort myself as usual for a situation where I probably should have 3 hands. Alright. Quarter-inch ratchet, perfect for that. These aren't terribly tight, maybe 12, 15 foot-pounds. Got all these hoses off and pull this wiring harness off. I'll be able to lift the intake. That's why I don't like wearing rubber gloves. They don't last. Because of the way the wire harness is push pinned into this, I think it's going to be easier just to pop these 2 10s off of here and leave the bracket on the motor. I got the stud out so the bracket will be loose, but I'll just leave it that way. The wiring harnesses to get to those snaps from the back would be more time consuming than them 2 nuts. So 7 8mm bolts, and this thing should be lifting off of here. Look at that thing. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Nice. I said to him up front, you know, it would be nice if I got a tune-up once in a while. 2 in a row. Stop complaining. Alright, let me see if the connectors will all come off of here. I think I'll need a pocket screwdriver. I'll use this since it's handy. Pocket screwdriver's up on my big toolbox for some reason. Pickle juicers to the rescue. And you guys notice that Nissans have like some of the most difficult connectors to work with. They do not like to release. What's weird is the new cam sensor doesn't seem to have a new O-ring with it. The O-ring must be part of the valve cover. That's going to be terrible news because we're going to need to replace that O-ring. Alright, let's see what we can do with that. Well, that makes me kind of sad, but a little skim of silicone, that'll work. I cleaned up the O-ring with some mass airflow sensor cleaner because that's what was handy, just to get the oil film off. Apparently that grommet is part of the valve cover, so that's not happening. So I just put a little smear of silicone, just the tiniest little bit. The bolt has a new O-ring, which it looked to me like that was probably where it's leaking from anyway, because the oil was up in this cavity and it wouldn't come from this O-ring or seal, whatever you want to call it. It's like it's pretty big. It wouldn't feed up into this cavity from that O-ring below it. It would always travel down, right? And there was oil in here, so I'm thinking it's coming through that bolt. So I don't feel too bad about doing it that way. It'll be okay. Let's get those coils out of there and throw some plugs in. I'm gonna go ahead and time lapse the spark plug install. You know, we'll play a little nice music, have some fun with it. Let's do it. 89 inch-pounds. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised it's that tight, actually. If I'd have guessed, I'd have probably done 55 inch-pounds because it's plastic, but seems fine. Alright. Always tighten the manifold gasket surfaces before I tighten any support brackets. They're secondary. They usually have slight adjustments too, so it'll allow it to move, because torquing it so it doesn't leak is muy importante, as they say in Kissimmee. We got a lot of vacuum hoses in here. A lot of vacuum hoses. Breather hose in the back. Noisy air guns in the shop. PCV or booster hose, I think this is. And it has a little clip to the hose below it. Oh, the sun's coming out. Makes me start wanting to sing that song. What's that song? The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Coming right along. They still haven't taken the tires, never mind have them done, so we're almost done. I'm just gonna see how this thing runs real quick. Oh, we did put the air filter in it. The customer said if the mileage says it's due, I want to put it in so I'm at the correct mileage for service intervals. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. It's only like 20 bucks, 18 bucks or something. I'm gonna top up the coolant a little bit. It needs just about a half a quarter coolant. Finish buttoning this thing up. We'll see how it runs when we come back. Start this thing up. Oh, that's nice. No check engine light, nothing weird going on. Everything looks pretty good. Tire light's on because of the tire problem. All that's gonna be left now, I'm gonna pop the wiper blades on real quick. Then it's up to them to get the tires done. And then we're gonna do a wheel alignment when those are done. Gotta be done today. And it's only a little after 9, so I knocked out the tune-up, cam sensor, and a couple of little, the air filter, a couple of little things in an hour. So good time on this one. As long as they get me the tires today, we'll be doing an alignment today on it. Let's see what else is going on. I'm gonna give this thing a rest. It's a 21 inch on the passenger side. And a 24 on the driver's side. When you put these on too, some people don't go for that click. You gotta feel that click. I've seen them come off on the highway on people and things. Gotta feel that little click. One more. This car may not look like it sees a lot of love, and the only reason it looks that way is because it doesn't. So they don't wash it, nothing. 2008, it's not really that old. You might think it's like a 97 or something. Nope. All right, enough ragging on this poor little old lady's car. She's a nice little lady, but she doesn't keep her car in good shape because she doesn't care. I care, so I should wash it, right? The inside door handle doesn't work. She said she's not worried about it. I think it's a similar problem to that other Lincoln I worked on where I had to fix the door panel. She says, oh, I just put the window down and use the outside handle. It's fine. So, and I don't know if they live on the beach, but it makes me kind of sad. Because for a car to look nice, a little soap and water and a vacuum. It's not expensive to do it. I don't know. It's got 165,000 miles on. Her last oil change was at Dodge, which that's odd. She comes in here every so often. She's not a terribly loyal customer, but she comes in a couple times a year for something. We're doing an oil change today. She had the last one done at Dodge, and we're doing that, but they want me to look at the check engine light first. So that's what we're doing here. Whew, that was a winded version of that. I don't know if I'll do a topology. What do you guys think? Should I? Should we stick with the rhythm? keep the rhythm going because we're having a good week this week. Even though it's a 3-day week, I'll probably still do 40 hours, I think. Yeah, oh, look at it. It's only got like 8 modules or something like that, or 10, 9. Let's record these codes, send Katie the report, and then we'll come back and see what we got for PCM codes. Those are the ones that matter the most. 2 of them. Uh-oh. Well. P0307. Cylinder 7 misfire. P0316 is random misfire at startup. Let's go have a look at the curls and see what's going on in there. I don't know what kind of love the coils and plugs have seen. That's kind of, oh, what the heck is that? That's weird. Someone's been working on it. Interesting. Got a fairly new intake manifold. 7 is here. Connectors all in. Everything looks pretty good. It's definitely had some work done. Got a new water pump. New intake manifold. These are terrible for leaking coolant. They crack on the heater hose fitting on the side. The replacement ones are aluminum and plastic instead of just plastic. Even Ford in later years went to partially aluminum manifolds because they had so many problems with them. But nothing obvious. We'll go inside. We'll fire up the Top Don Phoenix Light 2 and we'll look at misfire data and see if we can see a misfire now. Maybe it only happens sometimes. Coil's starting to go bad or injector starting to go bad kind of thing. Well, let's do that. We'll look at a IDS style misfire power balance test. Actually runs pretty good right now. Special functions, power balance. Okay. Gives you a list of rules. Put it in park, set the parking brake, foot off the gas, start the engine, turn off the AC, etc., etc. It's got a little bit of a tickle going on. That's normal. The only time you really have to worry is if you see this drop under 20, under and over 20, and it makes a pretty big triangle. Hit the gas a little bit. It's kind of strange. Whoop. 5 dropped down a little bit, but nothing terrible. It also will probably, you'll have to see a repetition of it. To set a code, it's got to do it quite a bit. These Fords, one of the parameters for learning misfire monitoring is you go 45 miles an hour, you decelerate to 20 miles an hour without touching the brake, you accelerate again to 45 miles an hour, you maintain, or 60 miles an hour, something like that. And you maintain that speed for a minute and then decelerate to 20 miles an hour without using the brake pedal. And it's got a really strict set of rules for setting misfire codes. So that's why a lot of people have a hard time finding Ford misfires. If someone's cleared the codes, then it has to run those monitors again to show you misfires. So back in the day, I used to clear the codes to get the light out while I was figuring things out. I would clear the codes. I want to make sure it's not causing a problem based on a code it had. And then you could never get it to set the misfire again in the shop. I mean, you literally can unplug 3 coils and it'll sit there, blah, 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 it won't set a misfire code because you haven't driven it and met those parameters. So right now, it's not doing what she's complaining about. So you know what I'm going to do is clear the codes and let them change the oil. And then we'll take it for a nice long drive to see if it acts up anymore. Worst case scenario, we'll have her bring it back if it sets the code again. The way it's running right now is perfect. For something with this much mileage and all, it's idle and nice. There's no misfires when you goose the throttle. You know, what am I don't want to just chuck parts at it. She's a little old lady on a fixed income. She never even complained. We asked her, did it run bad? They asked her at the front desk, did it run bad for you? And she said, no, the light just came on. So I'm not going to sell this lady tune-ups and coils and stuff until I can find a definite problem. That's just how I prefer to do it on this one. You guys tell me if you think I should spend a lot more time trying to pin down an intermittent misfire problem. This is how I prefer to do it for a little old lady that comes in here once in a while. I just think it'll be the least expensive way to do it. Although it might be a little troublesome for them to bring it back when the light comes on again. But you know, a tune-up on this thing's like $500 or $600. So we're not going there unless we have to, boys and girls. What I will do though is I'll pull that coil out and I'll look at the boot and see if it's got a burn through like that Chrysler product had, just to make sure. And then like I said too, we're also going to drive it before we give it back to her. So we're going to be thorough about it, but I'm not just going to jump to chucking parts in this one. Let's go out, clear these codes. It's going to want me to shut it off. Turn the key back on. You want to clear fault memory? Yes. Completed. Read fault code P1000, P1000. Okay. Let's have them change the oil. We'll take this thing for a drive and see if we can go any further with it. I hope maybe it'll show up for us and we can get it sorted today. But no pressure. Transmission shop said that there's probably something wrong with the cooler. I'm like, it goes through all the gears and only 1 and 2 have a problem. And I said, plus, if you refer back to my previous video, I flushed the cooler lines in both directions with 2 cans of flush and they went right through it. Cooler's not restricted. I said, plus, the other transmission had slipping codes and over temp codes. That's why we put this transmission in. This one has different problems. It's not the cooler. But they were going to have Bill bypass the cooler just to see if it changes anything. But I got to pull it off the rack because I got body shop stuff to do. Tie rod end and alignment on a body shop car. It's another GMC, oddly enough. It's a Terrain. This was an Envoy. So let's put a different GMC on here. What do you say? It's going to be really quick, like pow! I told you, just like that. Another GMC. The steering wheel's straight right now. You can see that's not. Tie rod end supposedly bent. Someone else looked at it. So we got an inner and outer tie rod end. Let's do it. Oh, we had a guy. Funny story, intermission. The guy came in like a 2009 or 10 Hummer, white, jacked up with like 36-inch tires, chrome wheels, big like 22-inch, 24-inch chrome wheels on it. And he wanted us to put a forward-facing camera. So they asked me about it. I said, that's not really something I'd want to do because it's a little time-consuming. You know, when he says forward-facing camera, what does that mean? What does it wire into, you know? He said, well, just give me a rough idea. We'll give him a price, see if he wants to do it. And I said, 2 hours, maybe 3. So they went up and told him. And the guy said, yeah, the other shop said 40 bucks. I was hoping you guys would be cheaper. I'm like, and then he acted like we were the jerks because he got a price of $40 and he's still price shopping. Whoever does that thing for 40 bucks, he's going to come in wanting us to fix the electrical problems. That's not funny. Wheels unbolted. It's a snug fit on there. Doesn't feel like it's rusty though. Oh, look at that thing. That thing is... I'm joking. You want to see? That's a problem. That is a problem. Oh, I can make a short about it. One little trick on these tie rod ends. Some of you guys probably know, some of you guys might not. Before you take the tie rod end out of the nut bolt, you got to break the lock nut loose, right? That way it's a little easier to... Oh, no. That's not even tight. Alright, let's grab the 18 and back. We got a new inner and outer, so I don't have to be gentle on this. I can just smack it out. Oh my goodness. Did somebody already have this apart? Alright, continue. I know the threads are going to end soon. I mean, they have to... Oh, there you go. Looks like it was also wore out. I think I'll put my 21mm socket and spin that off with power tools. Save pickle juicers. Alright, try not to let it pop up in the sky. Now I gotta get, I think I'm gonna get a screwdriver in there and twist that clamp, try to pry it open. Sometimes I reuse them. I mentioned that in earlier videos, but maybe I'll show you guys how I reuse them. When you can, sometimes you don't have a choice. You just take your really long gear wrench, cabinet screwdriver apparently they're called, and you stick it in here. It's not really even that tight on the rack, so this is why a tie wrap works. These things don't really have to be incredibly tight. Pry it open a little bit. The bigger problem with pulling it over this ridge, so you take a little bit of the magic Deepcrete. Multi-purpose material. Put a rag around your hand so you don't slice it open on this fender lip and stuff like that. Jeez Louise. Alright, let's get a pick, pry that up. The tie rod end's so sloppy. Air guns are so loud. Well, let's give it a whirl. Try not to stab ourselves with the pick. Just got to help it over this sharp ridge. The struggle is real. I'm not even going to hold the pick, so that way it'll definitely slide off with the boot. Won't come through my thumb. Everybody wins. Jeez Louise, man. Alright, it's going to get real. I'm going to get a big pick now. You got to bust out the Mayu Pro Grips. That's how you know. That's how you know it's getting serious. You want to mess with me, you can. But it's not going to end well for you. Trust me. There you go. Now it'll come off. See, problem solved. And this does have the lock tabs, a lock washer. You kind of bend it over the flats. I'm going to hammer right next to the camera here, so brace yourself. I'll edit it down in post, no worries. But it'll still be a little loud. I got to keep it authentic. Oh, ah, oh. You guys, you want to watch or what? Or not, man? Now it's not that that's loose now, but it'll turn without having to force the washers out of the way. Alright, we're going to use the Mac on this one because this has even more room than the last one I used it on. So it should work better, I would think, right? It's still hitting stuff. It looked like there was tons more room, but I guess not. This thing's not going to work on a lot of vehicles. Oh well. Let me get my breaker bar on there. Oh, I took a big chunk out of my knuckle. That's terrible news. Look, it hasn't even started bleeding yet. Carnage. We got these cool tourniquet bandages. They work pretty good. You can bend your knuckle a little bit that way. But I punched the knuckle, the steering knuckle with my knuckle. So it was knuckle on knuckle crime, basically. This tie rod end should turn right off of here now. Oh, I haven't even gone to see if we got the right parts. I hope they're right, because this thing will be on the rack for a while. Gravity check, please, on aisle 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Aisle 5. I meant aisle 5. That's the lock washer. It's supposed to be flat. Supposed to be flat. I'm gonna have to hammer it flat, but instructions. Real men don't use instructions until they get stuck and nobody's looking. Can't really hammer it because it'll crush these ears, and the ears help keep it from rolling around, right? Now we're good. These little ears have to face notches in the rack, and then I'll put it on the tie rod end like this, and as I get close, you'll feel these notches fall into the slots on the rack, and then when you finish tightening this, you just bend this over to go in the flat. It's locked up. That's the theory anyway. Kind of sneak up on it. Try not to jam the washers so you can find the little flats. And now the little stud portion of the tie rod end helps hold it kind of centered. And it just dropped into the slots. Now you can snug it up. Now I'm going to get my contraption on there and try not to slice any more knuckles open, and we'll be in good shape. Alright, now settle down. Ah, you guys got kicked around again, man. I'm sorry about the abuse. It's something I have to work on, counseling or something. It's not really a funny joke, but I'm not really a fan of this tool so far, but good and tight, that's the spec. Make sure you get your little grease packet squished in there. You can see this boot has no vent tube, so you don't have to worry about that on in this application. The rack's probably vented somewhere besides the tubes, the boots. I got the clamp unbent. You saw me unbend it a little bit, taking it apart. I'm not going to bend it any further. It'll probably pop back on. pop it on the rack, pull it back to that. I got to use some kind of side cutters to get in there, and let's squeeze that clamp tight again. Oh, the lock washer, I just used pliers. I used my trusty Knipex, and I bent that flange over on the nut. I decided to pop the boot back off and show you guys. I forgot to film that part. Just bend it over a little bit in case it does manage to loosen up. I tightened that thing. It's probably a good 80, 100 foot-pounds. I didn't look up the spec. I've done enough of these to know, but if you have any doubt about whether it's tight enough, look up your torque specs. I've got this thing as tight as it came off, if not a tiny bit tighter. But you can break the rack if you get too carried away. It's made out of pretty hard metal. So just be aware of all that stuff. Now I'm going to go backwards and put this back on again. And then make a tool for this. A lot of times you just can't get any kind of tools in there really. You just put it wherever you can reach it the easiest. Squeeze it with your side cutters. Look at this, man. Quality Napa Pro Former suspension parts. Even comes with a free funnel. Super handy. New lock nut. You guys want to guess which lock nut I'm going to use? One is crushed, designed to ruin the threads when you tighten it, and one is a nylon lock nut. Which one's better? I'm using this one. Some people might not like that, but that's okay. I can live with it. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it the way I do it. It's just a joke. Relax. I'm just going to turn this tie rod in. About the same length that was. You can see where the threads are. And then when it drops in the knuckle, I know I'm pretty close. I can go ahead and do an alignment. Let's see if it'll drop in there somewhere. Nope, gotta go further in than that. That should be pretty close. That looks pretty straight to me. Close enough. Close enough for the government work, as they say. Ooh, I'm even gonna tighten a jam nut. No, you guys probably knew that. I'm gonna tighten the jam nut before I even put the wheel on and do my alignment. What if it's green, right? Then we'll be done. Same size, I think. Oh, it's a 22. You sons of guns. I would have used the old one if I realized that ahead of time. All right. That makes me a little sad. Now the left and the right side nuts are going to be different sizes. Am I the only one that kind of stuff bothers? Snug on that hub too, so I torque wrench them every time anyway. But you really got to do it when you feel weird things happening. Like the vehicle last week when the nuts weren't correct, they got me, and they would have let the wheel loosen because they were pushing their way into the rim. They didn't have enough of a taper. I don't know if you guys saw that video. A couple videos back. I have the car completely off the jack. A little bit easier if it's still jacked up so the car doesn't rock with the torque wrench, but Jimmy, that's me. I usually put me. 168K. Measure casting. Uh-oh, we got issues. Hey guys, how you doing? I asked them about adjusting this rear toe. You need a washer kit. The car's already got the little tabs, but it doesn't come with the washers. So I'm not sure if you have to cut the slots and put the washers on or what, but they said the insurance company won't pay for the rear adjustment because the accident was in the front. So we're not doing it. We're only doing the front. Silly. Can't adjust the caster, but when I get the camber better, the caster may improve, and when the toe's right, it may improve. But first I'm going to focus on this right front camber. Loosen the strut 2 strut nuts. They had it apart when they did the front end, the rest of the front end work. So I'm going to loosen them, see if I can get it to move. You might have to grind the strut housing, which costs extra. So we'll see. We'll try loosening the nuts first. Alright, I put it in jack and hold. Went ahead and lifted the front end up to take the load off, because it'll only go more negative if it's loaded. I'm going to loosen these bolts now and see what we can get done here. You can see where someone's had sockets on there. Doesn't look like there's new parts though, other than the tire ends I put in. That's kind of weird. Well, let's loosen it and stop. See what happens. Stop speculating. Uh-oh. I don't want to loosen it that much. Uh-oh, it didn't move. That's terrible. Get my pry bar. Next thing is to sell them a strut modification. See what they think about that. That should be pretty good. Oh, a little too fur. We're gonna have to let it back down, back a hair. I want more camber on the left side, just a couple tenths. Alright. Now, let the weight back down. Tell what I did and set the tilt. Come on, let's go! Uh-oh. Caster is probably not 100% accurate reading, but somehow my left camber went out of spec lifting and lowering the vehicle. So, see what happens after I sweep the caster, if it changes at all. The left. Do it to the right. Put your left foot in and shake it all about. I don't know why it just popped into my head. A little bit extra camber in that left front. That's alright, we'll be good. No, I don't want to overwrite the existing saved measurements. I just want the camber to be green on the left. Chef Shade Tree stopped by to say what's up.
Howdy guys.
You're coming to help me out. You're going to bail me out of this alignment. I'm kind of stuck. Alright, Chef got this thing green and mean. Ready to go. You got to check out his YouTube channel, Chef Shade Tree. Make sure you go check him out. He just went over 1,000 subscribers. Making an awful lot of noise over there, Bill. Got a hot set. Hot set. Alright, the GMC alignment is done. Me and Chef have been hanging out. So I've been slacking a little bit on my, uh-oh, key not detected. What'd I do with it? Keys make all the difference in the world. Cutting up with Chef Shade Tree and having some fun. It's kind of got me out of rhythm. I'm walking around with that keys trying to start cars and stuff. We're having a good time though. So he's showing me his toolbox. He's literally using a an axle box from AutoZone to carry his tools around. That's pretty funny. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing in the alignment rack. I gotta torque the wheels too. They tightened them up, but we didn't torque them yet. So I'm gonna torque them first so I don't forget about it. And then we'll perform a quick alignment.
Yeah. Well, Dad's got one in the garage right now.
Chef's making content while I'm making content.
It's got the 85 with the 86.
Oh look, with the door open, it won't let me move it. Chrysler. It doesn't trust you to try to move a car while you're on the alignment rack. Oh, I'm also gonna have to put it in park. Watch, if you just shut it off, it goes into park. Cool, huh? Digital stuff's cool.
Wheel in like a suitcase. Okay, I'm ready to go work.
Not a bad $99 tool set.
Heck no, it doesn't. Heck no. And everybody goes, oh, I'm just doing a performance tool collection. And basically showing that you don't have to buy expensive tools.
It's a luxury, not a necessity.
Oh yeah. If you're just starting out, I wouldn't step foot on dang tool truck.
Do the left front camber? Nope.
Nope.
Just a maintenance alignment. So
okay.
We're finishing it up and see if she wants to do it at a later date, but it's not going to be today. I adjusted the left rear and I adjusted the toe on both front wheels, and that's not adjustable from the factory. So you got to buy adjustable upper control arm or adjustable upper ball joints.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes you can do it with camber and caster bolts, but I think the ball joint's the best way to do it. So
Yeah.
this one's done for now. A little bit of quick torque wrench for this is fine.
Yeah.
I have it because occasionally I'm doing anything.
I did one of them.
What the heck? Who said you could use my torque wrench? Alright, see you, Chef. The Durango's running great. 300,000 miles on that Durango. Unbelievable. Spent some time. Slowed me down a little bit, but that's alright. He's a good guy. Nice to meet some of the people that you see on YouTube a lot. Nice to meet him in person. Now we're going back to work. The TPMS sensors on that Chrysler 300, by the way, I just initialized them with the tool as I went around. Gave each sensor a memory. And then on a Chrysler, you just drive it a couple miles and it learns the sensors. So that worked out real well. This here Mercury, we're going to do a window regulator, a fan assembly, hood shocks, and a thermostat. I'm not sure if we'll get it done today, but we're going to try. So I'll do the hood shocks so I can take my pry bar out of there. And then we'll see about the regulator. Apparently it had turned itself on and was recording already, and I didn't know it. When I pushed the record button, it turned off. GoPro. I did the first hood shock already. This hood shock, I'll show you what I'm doing. I just popped a little clip off so you can get it off, and the other one you can leverage off. Use your other hand to hold the hood up, just in case. Now the pry bar should not be needed. Look at that thing. Like a brand new hood. Something like that. Come on. Let's get this thing open. Use two hands. It's a piece of cake. That even looks like the right one. Yay. Fragile, handle with care. Alright now. Don't fight it. It's gonna happen. It's easier to lift the car up and do this from underneath. No matter what. Basically trying to do the thermostat, the radiator fan, the hood shocks, and the window regulator in an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, we'll see. I'm working fast, but not like ridiculously out of control, because I don't want to have to do it again. Like what happens with fuel pumps modules and stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? That's what I heard. Check the time. All right, 35 minutes so far. Fired us up and recheck the coolant level. I'm not sure if they're heading to the beach or they're having a problem with the window. Maybe both. I'm gonna guess both. Punch the center of these out, then you can drill them a lot easier. If you try to drill with the steel center, it's really gonna give you a hard time. Usually punch out pretty easy. Not always. Jeez, man. They usually pop right out. You turn the camera on, it gets harder. Come off. Da, 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 da. Now I can get this silly thing out of my way. The scary thing is hammering them out of the glass. That's fun. At least they bolt the top in. I don't know why they don't bolt it all in, because I mean Ford's done this for like what's been 20 years on these Grand Marquis and Crown Vics. They're all riveted in. I don't know what the deal is. For the glass, I might get my angle grinder and a cut-off wheel and just cut off the head of the rivet so I don't have to hammer on the glass. Gotta get Gotta get the pool supplies out of the way. Put that in the car for them in case they need it for the kiddie pool. Usually it's duct tape, and then I feel compelled to try to get it off the paint for them. It makes a mess. You're way better off with packaging tape or something if you're going to do something like this. All right, let me get the angle grinder. Keep in mind, I'm changing the regulator, so I have to be quite so careful. But still didn't take much metal off of it. Even if I was reusing it, it'd be fine. Yeah, the other one's a little trickier because the door's in the way. This is one of the things in the 80s that had me going, what are you guys doing? Honestly, if it was a bolt-in regulator, I'd be done. No exaggeration. But because you got to drill all these, you complain about it on your YouTube channel, and it takes longer. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. Ow! Man, I am just... Gonna look like The Walking Dead when you watch my videos. Hope you don't mind gore. I really don't want to break the glass. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Alright guys, there's two 11mm bolts, and this thing's out. The part's not even here yet. I didn't know that. That's why I had all those other parts except the window regulator. So that's gonna be here in the morning. I don't think I was supposed to try to do it, but I was very motivated because I'm only having a 3-day work week, so I wanted to try to get as many hours as I could. Got to get the two 11mm nuts out of the top. That's the only thing holding it in right now, and I got my airbag holding the glass up, so it won't be open all night till they work on it tomorrow, and they'll finish up tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you watched all 3 videos this week. I'm thinking about a couple of oddball videos I might put up just to give you guys some content if you want to watch it. Either way, I appreciate you watching. And I hope you'll torque the like button or subscribe. And I hope I see you in the next video because you're awesome. Have a happy new year.